If you're a care partner for someone with fibromyalgia, well, this is for you. You're the one in the background, the quiet supporter, and your role is so important. So let's dive in.
You know, being a care partner can be incredibly isolating. It really can. You're right there on the front lines of this thing, navigating the chronic pain and the crazy fatigue with your loved one. And a lot of the time it feels like no one else gets it. But you're not invisible, and you're definitely not alone.
So where does this journey usually start? Well, for so many of us, it kicks off with this really powerful instinct, the desire to just fix it. Oh, I remember this phase so clearly. When my partner was diagnosed, I became an expert researcher overnight. I mean, I was Googling every treatment, every diet, every specialist, you name it. I was going to be the rock. I was going to be the strategist. I honestly believed that if I just worked hard enough, I could make this whole thing disappear.
Yeah, but here's the thing about fibromyalgia. It just doesn't play by our rules. They couldn't care less about logic or schedules, and that's usually where that whole fix-it mindset starts to completely fall apart.
And this right here, this is the reality, isn't it? It is so frustrating. You have a good day and you think, okay, we're on to something. And then bam, a flare-up hits out of absolutely nowhere. A strategy that worked wonders last week does nothing today. And you go from trying to fix it to this gut-wrenching realization that you can't. And that can leave you feeling just completely helpless. But you know, that feeling of helplessness, as awful as it is, it can actually be a real turning point. It's the moment you finally realize that your own well-being matters just as much. And that's when the real work of being a care partner truly begins.
Just picture it for a second. You're in that cold doctor's office, right? It smells like antiseptic, and the doctor is just going over test results, talking about next steps. You're trying so hard to absorb every single word, but it all just feels like a blur.
And in that moment, it's like you're a ghost in the room. All the focus is on the patient, and of course it should be, but you're sitting right there, carrying this immense weight, and nobody even glances your way. No one asks how you're holding up. It's a really lonely feeling.
And this is the absolute bottom line. The well-being of the care partner isn't some extra thing to think about later. No, it's an essential part of the whole equation. You've heard it a million times, but it's true. You just can't pour from an empty cup.
Realizing this is a total game changer. It lets you step away from that constant frustration of trying to fix the unfixable and start moving toward a way of caring that's actually sustainable, one that's built on empathy. So let's get into 3 really practical lessons that can help you make that shift.
All right, let's start with lesson number 1. And honestly, I think this one is the foundation for everything else.
Your first instinct is probably to jump in with solutions, right? Hey, did you try this supplement? What about this therapy? But sometimes the most helpful thing you can do is just listen. To just say, I'm so sorry, that sounds incredibly hard. That kind of validation can be way more powerful than any so-called solution you could offer.
See, fibromyalgia is an invisible illness, and that's part of what makes it so tough. Your loved one might look totally fine on the outside, but inside, they are fighting a massive battle that no one else can see. So when you say those 3 little words, I believe you, you're acknowledging their fight. You're telling them their pain is real and that you see it. And that is everything.
Okay, on to our second lesson. And this one might feel a little counterintuitive at first, but it is so essential. It's all about self-care. And no, it's not selfish. It's about being sustainable. It is so easy to get completely swept up in the day-to-day of caregiving and totally forget about yourself. But if you don't carve out time for your own needs, you're going to burn out. It's inevitable. And self-care doesn't have to be some grand gesture. It can be a 20-minute walk, reading a chapter of a book, just calling a friend. It's about finding those little moments to recharge your own batteries so you can keep showing up. And this marathon analogy, it really hits the nail on the head. Self-care isn't a luxury. It is an absolute necessity. You wouldn't just show up and try to run a marathon without training, right? Well, caregiving is a long-term commitment. You have to build up your own strength and endurance to be there for the long haul.
All right, our final lesson is all about the power of knowledge, because the more you actually understand about fibromyalgia, the easier it becomes to respond with empathy instead of, frustration.
Think about it. When your loved one has to cancel plans, again, it's so easy to feel frustrated or maybe even a little resentful. But when you understand that the crushing fatigue they're feeling is a very real, very debilitating symptom of their illness, it completely changes your reaction. It's so much easier to respond with compassion.
So, what is fibromyalgia really?
Well, think of it like this. The body's entire nervous system is basically stuck on high alert. It's like a faulty security system that's sending out constant false alarms of pain and fatigue. For a healthy person, pain signals are a response to an injury. But for someone with fibro, that alarm is just going off all the time for no clear reason. And once you really get the why behind it, it can completely transform your perspective. You stop seeing those canceled plans as a choice or a personal slight. You start seeing them for what they are, a symptom of a very real, very difficult illness. And that's when you can show up with the empathy and compassion they truly need.
So, as we bring all of this together, what's the big takeaway from all these lessons? It's really this. You are not going through this alone. There's a huge community of people out there who get it, who are walking the same path. And knowing that, that's a powerful thing.
Your story, it really does sound familiar to so many people. You are the quiet supporters, the ones who just keep showing up out of love. And the most important thing to remember is that you do not have to walk this road by yourself anymore.
The more we share our stories, the more we connect, the less invisible we all feel. We can build a community where every care partner feels seen, feels heard, and most importantly, feels supported. So, I'll leave you with this question to think about. What is the one thing you wish people truly understood about your role in this journey? Thank you so much for being here. And please, remember to take care of yourself too.